My dream is to become a starting quarterback at the Division I level. But growing up in St. Cloud, Minnesota, you don't get much exposure as a high school football player. With the lack of players on roster, I wasn't too surprised when my coach asked me to play free safety as well. He thought my experience at QB and vision would translate well to the defensive side of the ball, and since I was a team guy first, I had no option but to agree. With all that being said though, my main focus would still be to earn a scholarship as a quarterback. That brings us to game one, where we started off really hot at quarterback with a long 65-yard rush and just getting caught before we reached the end zone. Luckily that wouldn't matter because we would find our running back Howell for a touchdown pass on the very next play. In our first series at free safety, it was evident that we didn't know exactly what we were doing out there. I was just kind of running to the ball, trying to make plays. And our real focus was still trying to turn heads at the quarterback position, and we would do so with huge throws like this. And for this play, we would make our first tackle ever, and it was a big hit. And honestly, I was really excited after that one. On the very next play, my teammate would make this clutch interception and take it back to the crib for a pick six. And our momentum was crazy because on the following play, they left a wide open Geo up the middle for a huge touchdown pass. On defense, I started to realize why coach wanted me back there because I was reading the quarterback's eyes pretty easily. At this point, it was pretty clear that this Woodbury team was outmatched as we were just finding open receivers all day long. Following that is what should have been my first ever pick six of my career, but we ended up dropping the ball. Luckily, we made up for it on the very next play, reading the screen to perfection and coming down and delivering a nice hit. On this play, we read the quarterback's eyes to perfection and ended up securing our first interception of our career, and I gotta say it felt really good. And after that, the momentum was just too great. Nobody was going to take me down as we stiff-armed this guy to get into the end zone for a huge rushing touchdown. It felt great making plays on both sides of the ball and contributing to my team as we get another interception. And in our first ever game at free safety, we would win player of the game. We finished our first high school game with over 400 yards of offense, 6 total touchdowns, 2 picks, and 6 tackles. In week 2, we continued on with the trend at QB, finding open receivers over the middle and then easy curl routes for touchdowns. And after our 2-pick performance last week, I got a little bit greedy and vacated my zone, left my teammate one-on-one, and he got mossed for a touchdown. But our main focus was to make great plays on offense and make great throws like this to our tight end Weisbecker. We still wanted to make up for it on defense, and we would make a clutch tackle on this 3rd and 12, which would lead to this easy rushing touchdown. And I'm not going to lie, the QB got me on this one, cutting back inside, but we were able to get a tackle on the next play. And that drive would end with their running back taking it in to tie the game up at 14. But that wouldn't matter because on the very next play, we would run the read option to perfection and take it for a huge touchdown. After that play, we were pretty pumped up, and I came all the way across the field to make this touchdown-saving tackle. But regardless, we still needed to improve in our tackling ability as we're getting easily brushed off. And then on the next play, we're getting blocked because we don't see a wide receiver, and their quarterback's going to easily walk into the end zone because of me. And after some mishaps on defense, there was definitely a drive to get better, coming across the field, making tackles, and then having it still translate to offense where we'd get the ball in our hands every time and make the most of it. On this play, I'd come down and deliver a huge hit on this seam route, and I was surprised he held onto the ball. We couldn't stop him as they would tie the game up at 28. That would lead to overtime, and I'd have to watch from the sidelines as they would take a 35-28 lead. But luckily, we could still make plays on offense as we rolled out and found the end zone at the end to tie the game back up. We'd get the ball back, and I would throw another touchdown pass to our tight end, and their QB was just dotting us up at every chance he got, but we were still able to hold them to a field goal. I don't know how they got the ball back, but after we delivered this huge hit, the game just ended, and we lost. So I don't know how that works. We moved on from it. We're on to week 3. We started it off hot with a huge pick six by my teammate. And on offense, I would continue to break out huge runs, show off our athleticism as we're cutting, making guys miss, showing we can handle business at quarterback. And like I said before, there's still a lot to improve upon at free safety. Because on the next play, we would vacate our zone and the QB would take advantage, throwing a long touchdown pass right over our head. We would continue to struggle in man coverage, getting routed up, but at least we're making tackles and still being able to deliver big hits like this whenever someone came over the middle. In the 4th quarter, we would make this clutch stop on 4th and 15. And we would end up walking it in the end zone on this read option play. And I'm not sure why with 1 minute being up 24-7 that I was still in the game trying to run the clock out, but I think the fatigue of playing 2 positions got to me because we would make a bad read and pay the ultimate price for it. After that game, we would finally start getting interest from colleges at quarterback, but I was devastated as I would find out the following day I needed surgery to repair a torn ACL. Any interest or stars I was building up were completely gone, and we were left with virtually nothing. During the awful 9-month recovery period, I reached out to hundreds of schools, but I didn't hear back from a single one until I received a phone call from Coach Creighton at Eastern Michigan. He told me he would have a PWO spot for me on the Eagles as a free safety. After talks with family and long consideration, I decided to accept his offer to go play football at Eastern Michigan.